Nathan, are you expecting Jack Viner to get up for this week?
Oh, you'd be a game man to bet against him, that's for sure. I think, obviously the crutches at this point are pretty precautionary just to help him deload early in the week after obviously running around on the weekend. He's actually done that a few times over the last few weeks. So, I expect him to give it his best shot, and he has probably pulled up a little bit sorer than usual, but in saying that, he's a pretty tough customer and we expect him to get out there hopefully on the weekend.
Is that just a reality for him now that he is going to be playing sore for the rest of the season?
Oh, I think there's no doubt with an injury like that, obviously being his foot and he's got to run around on the weekend, the chance to get off it and recover and deload it, as I said before, is important, and it's something that he's going to no doubt have to manage just due to him coming back so quickly from the surgery and the injury itself. Trying to give it as much time to heal in between, smashing it on the weekend is important for him.
What sort of effort is it taking him each week to get up? It's obviously been something that's troubled him for a little bit now.
Yeah, obviously prior to having the surgery it was probably a management thing, but it got to the point where obviously he'd torn it to the point where he required surgery, and the ultimate professional for him to obviously get up after only a couple of weeks out of surgery was an unreal effort, and now I think over the next few weeks it's going to be a real management thing. I think there's no risk of any more damage, but the main thing is being able to manage the pain, and obviously, as I said before, Jack's a pretty tough customer, so that's not a too difficult task for him, but at the same time, there is probably the post game. It does tend to get pretty sore on him, and that's the reason why we see him on the crutches.
What are the chances of Jesse Hogan making an early return in the next couple of weeks?
Well, he's tracking along pretty well. We're obviously giving him every opportunity, and he's giving himself every opportunity. He'll probably train both training sessions this week with us, and again, he's probably going to have to declare to us that he's ready to go, just through his performances and through I guess sharing how he's feeling and how confident he is with certain aspects. But I think over the next week or two we'll ramp that up, and hopefully we can get him back out there.
You haven't played finals personally for 11 years, and now 2 more wins and you're definitely in. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm excited about that opportunity, but the reality is we've got 2 really important games over the next couple of weeks to solidify that. So we haven't looked any further ahead than this weekend. We have to really respect the Lions with their performance last weekend, and I reckon their form over the last probably 6 weeks. They've got some super talent, particularly around the ball, and we're going to have our work cut out this weekend to bring out another performance like we did on the weekend, but against a really promising and up and coming side.
And for you guys, just the importance of backing up, your best performances haven't always come after another good performance this year.
Yeah, I think that's probably been the challenge for us. We went through a patch of probably 2 or 3 weeks after probably the GWS game was obviously the last one, where we were probably struggling a little bit for form, and our game wasn't really at its peak, particularly around some of the areas that we were becoming renowned for earlier in the year. But I think credit to our coaching staff last week. We had a really simple week, clear messages, and got back on track against the Saints. I think it's important that we try and maintain that again with another really strong performance on the training track during the week, and just go into the game, really ready, but enjoying the opportunity. I feel like the shackles were sort of released on the weekend. The players actually went out there and absorbed the pressure that came with that game, and actually enjoyed just being out there and playing together, and I think that reflected in our performance.
Did it weighed you down a bit the previous weeks?
Not necessarily. I think what happened was we were getting frustrated through not being able to execute to the level. We were obviously trying to perform at our absolute best, but we in certain areas we're out of form as a side. But as I said, we rectified that last week, really simplified things, and just drew back on some of our real strengths, and we got excited about playing again, and I guess probably brought the fun back a little bit. And when you can generate that and not get frustrated by mistakes, and not necessarily playing the game perfectly, we generally can generate some excitement, and that's what we did on the weekend. And once we got on a roll, the boys were back.
What's been your message to the younger guys in the playing group ahead of these last 2 critical games?
Oh, it's all about preparation at this time of year. I think not looking too far ahead. And as boring as it is, it's interesting hearing from someone like Jordan Lewis say, when he'd been through some really successful periods with the Hawks, being great can tend to be boring just because you've got to execute week after week, and it's the really simple things and fundamental things that you have to keep on doing to become a great side. And that's pretty much the message to our younger players is, take control of the things you can control with your preparation and with your training, and all the things that lead into you playing and performing well on the weekend, and then just get out there and have some fun and let it all go on the weekend.
Jack Watson's found himself in the VFL and obviously had a solid game on the weekend, but does it become that much trickier for him to get back in when Cam Pedersen and Sam Wiedemann both had good games as well?
Yeah, I wouldn't just identify it as just Jack. We dropped 4 players from the week before. Obviously Jack was one of those players that probably wasn't in the form that even he'd expect, so he had some things to work on, and so did the other 3 players that missed as well. We've got a VFL side that's in terrific form, and Watsy was a contributor again on the weekend with that, and we've got a handful of guys that are playing themselves into some pretty good form down there as well. I think Billy Stretch has been terrific, Benny Kennedy's been terrific, so we've got pressure for spots, there's no doubt about that, but I think that's a good thing. I guess the expectation placed on someone like a Cam Pedersen coming in, and we saw the performance he put out there on the weekend. I think that leaves us in a terrific position as a club, and Jack's clear on what he's got to do and what we require from him, and he'll continue to work on that, and I have no doubt he'll put his hand up for selection through his performances.
Tom Buck's available to play now. Does he still have a bit to sort of show to the leadership group in terms of earning his trust back, or has he sort of done his time now?
Obviously, it was a difficult period for him early, but I could not question his commitment to the team or his own preparation and performance. He was well aware of having to earn back some respect and some trust, and he has not put a foot wrong in 6 weeks that he's been out. He's really led the way with the way he's performed on the training track. He's got really involved in educating some of our younger players and taken on some real leadership roles and opportunities in that space, and I'm excited for him to get the chance to get back out there and perform. I think that's all he's been looking forward to and preparing himself for, and I think from there he'll let his actions do the talking on the field and hopefully find himself back in contention.
You're a pretty aggressive player. When you see Jack Redpath suspended for what he did on the weekend, how does that sit with you?
I didn't actually see it, to be honest, so I probably can't make a comment on it. Sorry, Jules.
You spoke about a few of the guys going out. Someone like Sam Frost went out of the team, and you pushed Tom McDonald back and obviously played Cam Pedersen forward. Is there a spot for Frost, considering his athletic attributes that he sort of adds to the team?
Yeah, I think as I just said before, those guys missed due to being out of form and not performing to the level that we'd expect in some of the key areas. But there's no doubt we've played some of our best footy with Watsy and Frosty in our team. But I think the luxury that we do have is we are able to move guys around. We've got some versatility there, and we proved that on the weekend with how we structured up. I thought our coaching group did a terrific job in preparing the team last week, but again, we go into St Kilda and we go into the Lions this weekend, and we look at it again and weigh up a few options and I guess matchups and scenarios and situations that we'll face in a game, and those guys just have to continue to perform to the level we expect, and particularly around some of the fundamental things. And I don't think there's any doubt that those guys can provide something for the team. I think they've proven that this year, but at this point in time, they aren't selected for reasons that surround our expectations as a team. And Frosty's well aware of that. Watsy's well aware of that, and it's and other guys that aren't in the team or can't crack into the team are aware of the areas they have to improve on. And it's no different for any team, and I think they'll get their opportunity, whether it's at VFL or AFL, to put their hand up, and I think they can provide something for us. There's no doubt when they're playing at their best and contributing to the team in the areas we expect.
How's Big Maxi going? He said he was confused by the decisions on the weekend, and then the umpiring department ticked them off. So is he more confused, or is he clear now what he can and can't do?
Yeah, look, I think Maxi's going to probably get a letter from the AFL. I would have thought, just explaining that, but I think the club did ask the question about it, and I think, I guess Maxi's well within his right. There was some frustration there on the weekend, but I think it was pretty clear, or a very clear explanation as to why he was penalised on those in those instances on the weekend, and I think he'll work to obviously get through that, but there was some frustration there. But now I think that it's been cleared up. I don't think there'll be any issues from now on with Maxi.